What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we are embarking on a fun, or at least I hope, adventure in F125 multiplayer lobbies. No, I'm not just talking any multiplayer lobbies where I get subscribers to join me. No, this is complete randoms. I jumped on at 11 p.m. No subscribers here to be seen. This is just people from the public who hopefully have no idea who we are, and we're going to see what the state of online lobbies are on the F1 game. So let's get into it for our first race here in China. 5 red lights, and we are underway for this Grand Prix. We are running 50-50 wings as a bit of fun and an extra challenge to see what we can do in the dirty air of other cars. Going through turn 1, it is carnage as ever, gaining 3 or 4 positions there, people falling off the racetrack, people who are still coming up to grips with how to drive on this game, and they're sharing the same bit of racetrack with everyone else. So it's always a recipe for disaster. We've got a couple of cars up there inside heading into turn 4. We're going to go nice and deep, but cut back beautifully to go from 13th all the way up to P5. That is a very lucky but a very awesome switchback. Absolutely incredible. Yes, I wanted to switch back. You know, the 2 people who are up my inside, I didn't bargain on getting about 6 or 7 other drivers in that same corner as well. Bit of an incident with the Kicksauber, who didn't really see that we were there up our inside. They've got a drive-through penalty for cutting the corner. So, yeah, I mean, early doors, multiplayer looks pretty carnage, it has to be said. This was filmed a good few days ago. So, you know, everyone's had the game for about a week, so everyone should have basic grips of how to drive these cars, where the track goes, how to set up the car at a basic level. But, yeah, people still struggling somewhat, it seems. It's calmed down now after that first lap. Everyone's kind of keeping on the same bit of racetrack. We're going to try and get this Kicksauber, who doesn't like to leave very much space. They remember we came together last lap, and he's instigated contact about 2 or 3 times already on this lap alone. Is he going to dive bomb us at the end of this back straight? We're going to get the slipstream and DRS off of the Alpine, which is going to put us onto the podium position. So here we go. Because we're running 50-50 wings, we're going to be quite under threat from that Kicksauber behind, don't you worry. As we go into this hairpin, it goes in pretty deep and leaves us with nowhere to go, really. I did my best to avoid contact, but at some point I had to rejoin the circuit, and the Kicksauber is ahead once again. I'm not too worried, though. I am not too worried. I think they've used a lot of battery to do that. You can see they're flashing on that rear tail light of theirs, and we get them down into turn 1 with our 50-50 wings. We should be able to pull away now through this middle sector, and that should be game over for them. They still have to serve their drive-through, and they are not serving the drive-through. They're carrying on for another lap, and I think they've just been disqualified. So, yeah, that guy clearly doesn't have any idea what's going on in this race. See you in the menu, buddy. Anyway, last lap of the race. We did our best to try and catch up to Haas and the V-Carb, but the gap was just a little bit too much. I think it was 3 or 4 seconds to those guys. We put up a good fight, used up all our battery to do so, set a fast lap of the Grand Prix, on our way to getting very close. I think another lap and we would have been there. But yeah, good battles, good fights. Some quick drivers in the end in here, so fair play to them for surviving. But that was our first race there in China. Very proud of that switchback. I think you might see a clip of that on social media at some point. But now we're going to move on to the next race, the Brazilian Grand Prix. This one's not going to be so crazy in terms of setup. I don't actually think I have a setup for this track, so I'm just going to compromise and use a setup for a different track that I think has some similar characteristics. So we're going to go for the Spanish Grand Prix. I think it's kind of like mid-level wings, which is actually too low for Spain, but I think it's quite good for a track like Brazil. So we're going to run with that, and hopefully we've got the right ingredients to be quick in the corners and fast on the straights. Here we go for race 2, starting from P12. Let's see what we can do. We are going to drop to the back of the grids. Like I said, last to first challenge. I want to do some racing. I want to test what the dirty air is like. I want to test what racing with other players is like. Oh my word, that's a rejoin from our teammate. If I If I didn't avoid, that was going to be game over right there. Otherwise, apart from that, it's not been horrendous. There was someone else who didn't really get away off the line there. Nearly, they're only just going through turn 1 now, trying to traverse this other kick salver. And, wow, there's some varying levels of where to brake and what corners to take at what speed from a lot of these guys. Open lobbies is always going to be a crazy mix of skill gap, it has to be said. So we'll try and get this Mercedes as quick as we can. That's us in the grass, and that is us back down to where we started, P18. Not ideal. We're going to drop in behind the Kick Sauber, who was punting us off a little bit in the last race. He punts off our teammate for good measure, and he rejoins a little bit dodgingly. And we're going to try and dodgingly get around these guys with a lot of overtake. No DRS enabled just yet. That'll be the second lap, and we'll crack on after this. Hopefully, we survive this turn 1 onslaught. Someone's going to dive bomb here, and there it is. I think they both punted me in the end. Didn't matter if the Williams didn't exist. The Kick Sauber would have got me. If the Kick Sauber didn't exist, the Williams would have got me. What a disaster. It's one of those races where you don't get past the Crash Bandicoots, and it's a bit of a snowball effect. You just keep getting knocked further and further into the mud. It's you know, you're a magnet to all the dodgy drivers, and it's hell. If you can't escape, if you can't get them early, then you get trapped in their shenanigans. And we're still trying to undo the damage from the first lap or two where we got involved with these drivers. Look at, oh my word, that's pretty good. Pretty good spatial awareness to get the switch back on those guys. Dodgy rejoin or two, and another one almost on the Mercedes. Really hard to predict where these guys are going to place their car, in all honesty. You guess one way and then they do the opposite, and there's not much you can do from that really. But I think now we're finally clearing those dirty drivers, and now we can actually start to race properly in this race, albeit with only 2 laps to go in this race. We've got the Alpine next. Do we go for a dive bomb? No, I'm going to try and get the better exit, get the switch back into second gear. A little bit of wheel spin and oversteer, as this setup is quite aggressive. And, you know, tire temps probably starting to escalate as well. This is something that a lot of these entry-level drivers are probably going to miss out on, is proper car setups where you want to whack up a lot of the tire pressures to keep the tire temperatures down. I think this is where, at the back end of races, we'll really be able to have quite the advantage on some of these guys. So here we are, last lap. Do we go for the dive bomb into the Albon corner? No, we do not. Trying to see where an opportunity might present itself. A dive bomb into the last proper corner is a good shout, but no, we're gonna be ultra patient, and we're just gonna blast this guy with battery. A bit of overtake. DRS up to the line. He's moving left. He's moving right. I don't think he wants to let us through here. We're going to have to go to the outside, go the long way around. He tries to block us off. It's far too late for that. And we are both left spinning. We drop a couple of places down to P6. But that's just the state of multiplayer lobbies in the F1 game. In all my years of playing, I would like to say that it's gotten better or it's gotten worse, but to be honest, it's exactly the same. From F1 2010 to now, there are still dirty drivers. We love to see it. Anyway, let's move on to a race where hopefully we'll have a bit more fortune. The Dutch Grand Prix, a track with a lot of corners, a lot of dirty air, the kind of corners that lead into each other. So, you know, if you get one corner wrong, it's going to punish you quite hard. So from that perspective, this is going to be quite a technical circuit. So I imagine the skill gap here is going to be pretty massive. So this is all about survival now. We made mistakes in, you know, not clearing a lot of the slower drivers in Brazil. We're not going to make those mistakes. We're going to try and just get them nice and early, decisively, and then we can get on with our race. Up into P9 after starting in P20. We've got the Aston Martin who brakes and downshifts a couple of times for a flat-out corner. So, yeah, some definite misjudgments being made in this race. The Williams turns in on us. and nearly spins us. Another separate incident there promotes us up to P5. We've got the McLaren up next. Oh my word, that's a skill issue for me, actually. Just checking the tyre temps. We did have the odd correction or two we had to make in avoidance of other cars. We've got the Williams blocking the inside. They run in a little bit wide, and we get the undercut on them there, back into P5. Lovely stuff. Lap 2. Whoever the host is of these lobbies, absolutely atrocious. Every race was held at 5 a.m. My words. Surely that's not the racing line telling them to brake that much into a corner like that. But anyway, 5 a.m. Lighting is horrendous. Can't see anything. I'm absolutely blind. I need glasses. I need lights to illuminate and see where we go. Maybe that's why everyone's struggling. They can't see where they're going. But we're just about making out the finite details of what corner is coming up next. A lot of drivers just completely underestimating how much grip and how much speed you can carry through there. And again, through that right-hander. Nothing we can do when that corner is really just a downshift and a slight lift. This corner is completely flat out. We gained over half a second on the V car by our teammate coming into this. He swerves into our line, and then as soon as we go to tuck in to go take the next right-hander, he's braking 100 meters early. Completely unpredictable behavior, which is one of the reasons why F1 brought in the rule of being within 107%. If you're too slow, you can't qualify for the Grand Prix. I think what's worse in this occasion is that not only these drivers are slow, but they're unpredictable as well. You know, swerving and braking at points of the track where you just really don't need to be doing that. But anyway, it's now the penultimate lap. We've got 3.5 seconds to the race leader, but I'm actually pretty confident that we can do it. We've got a lot of battery. We finally got some clear air, and I think we're going to catch this Alpine at the perfect time because we're coming up to the third sector, a sector in which where the track opens up a little bit. You've got some DRS zones. You know, the issue that I talked about last race where the tires start overheating because of the more default setups. They're just not built for doing more than a couple of laps. The tires really start to melt, especially soft compound tires, and especially a track like this where there's really long high-speed corners. It doesn't give the tires much of a chance to relax. You can see that the Alpine is sliding around quite a bit. We're going to use a lot of battery here to try and fly past on this straight. We do have more downforce on these guys, but if we pick and choose our moments with DRS and battery, you know, we can overcome, we can get past drivers with more straight line speed than us. And that was a crucial time to get through, because if we stayed behind at turn 1, we wouldn't have a chance of winning the race here on this last lap. It's 1.1 seconds to the Haas ahead, who is struggling even more than the Alpine, I would say. And it looks like we're going to catch them again at a pretty good point of the circuit where we're going to get some DRS. I'm using this last lap here through the middle sector to save my battery. I put it down into none. We're going to try and recover as much battery as we can, because when we get closer, and we will, we're using all these corners to save, but also gain on the car ahead. And now we can go full attack for these last 4 corners of the Grand Prix. Started in 20th place, remember, and now we have a chance to win the race. Race leader was flashing with their battery. Let's see how much they've got left on the run to the line. We've got 60% battery, and now we're going to be hard on the overtake button. In the slipstream of the Haas, we're going to go to the inside. Does he block us off? No, he doesn't. He lets us go right through, and we win the Dutch Grand Prix, our first multiplayer race of the day. And there we go. That is multiplayer lobbies on F1 25. If there was any small level of damage in this race, I don't think we'd have any finishes, to be honest. We just about made contact with almost every car in that race in the first 3 laps. Just no one wanted to battle cleanly. But that's the hecticness of multiplayer, isn't it? It's nice to see that the more things change with these games, the more they stay the same in the multiplayer experience. I wouldn't expect anything less. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.